Okay, today we're going to do some faux Rice Krispie treats, and we're going to do them in wreaths. And over here in my pan, I put in butter and just regular mini marshmallows, just like you would for any other type of Rice Krispie treat. But I, of course, used light butter. This is a light margarine rather than actual butter, but of course, if you wanted to use an actual butter, they might hold up a little bit better. Instead of the traditional Rice Krispies, we're using Special K cereal and any kind of low-calorie, low-carb flake cereal would work. And we're also going to use a Fiber One type cereal. Also low-calorie, low-carb, uber high fiber. And that really helps you whenever you're counting carbohydrates, especially for those of us who are diabetic. My husband teases me and tells me that the high fiber cereal ends up making it look more like a bird nest. And that is fine. You could go with that even during the holidays. You could just decorate it differently so that instead of wreaths, maybe you actually made a bird nest. Now what you're seeing here is actually a recipe that I found online at Kellogg's that I cut in half. Part of the reason why I cut it in half is portion control. That's one of the things that's really, really important whenever you're trying to be healthy, is control your portions. So I've just dumped all the cereal in with the marshmallows, no heat, and stir, stir, stir. You want all of your flakes evenly covered, but you want to be gentle. I mean, don't, get your husband in here to strong arm this stuff, because if you break up your flakes too much, then it really, really won't look like wreaths, and that's our goal for today. Okay. So we're stirring our hot mini marshmallows in with our flake cereal and our high fiber cereal until it's nice and covered. And now I've found whenever I'm using low-fat margarine, spreads, butter, whatever you find, that sometimes it takes these things a little bit longer to set up, which is fine. Just, be patient. Now I'm going to add some green food coloring because I'm specifically doing wreaths. And we'll see how this goes, because nobody wants like a brown wreath, right? This actual recipe calls for like a teaspoon of green food coloring. I don't think I have that in my pantry anymore, because my daughter uses food coloring all the time for her baking needs. So I'm just going to stir it some more. So we may have a hint of green fake Rice Krispie wreaths, which is also okay, because, food starts with how beautiful it is, and that's what makes you want to eat it. But those of us who are trying to reduce our calories and reduce our intake know that really, as long as it tastes good, pretty much we don't care what it looks like, we're going to eat it anyway. Okay. And again, we're talking about portion control, because whenever you are trying to be healthy, don't deny yourself things. I mean, it's the holiday season, and you're going to want treats. The holiday season, for whatever reason, means treats. So you're going to want that, and that is perfectly fine. Don't deny yourself that, because then you'll just gorge later, and then, you've got to get on the evil elliptical or something to try to balance that out, and that's never, ever good. Now, if you're a little bit OCD and you want to make perfect wreaths, and that's me sometimes, unless I'm really, really busy wanting to eat them, then they're less perfect. But this is a really good idea. And so first thing I'm going to do, portion control, I have a 1/4 cup measuring cup here, and I'm going to spray it with any kind of cooking spray. Doesn't matter, low-fat cooking spray. that's what I'm going to use to portion. I'm going to spray it on my hands. I know, yuck. But it is sticky. And then I'm going to get a scoop out, measure it out. Oof. Ooh, the kids might really enjoy doing something like this. This is fun. And then I'm going to pop this into a cupcake pan that I have also sprayed with cooking spray. And whenever I look at this, I'm like, oh, that's huge. Okay, that is huge. That's going to make a really thick wreath. Do you want a really thick wreath? You don't? Okay, that's not a big deal. Just fill over into your next cupcake liner. And again, this helps you portion out your foods better, so you're actually feel like that you're getting a really awesome treat. And you are, but you're not getting all of the really awesome calories to go with this really awesome treat. See, now I have made one whole and one partial beautiful wreath from just a 1/4 cup of this mix. Now, alternately, if you don't want to go with the super uber OCD beautiful method, you could just do regular portions onto a cookie sheet. I've lined mine with parchment paper primarily because this cookie sheet is ugly. And again, my hands are greasy with cooking spray, so I'm just portioning this out and I'm making a cute little hole in the middle. Now see, this is a huge Rice Krispie treat cookie here. I mean, this is very large. So these on the cookie sheet are actually twice the size of the ones that I put in the cupcake holders. And one of the things that I learned whenever I started down this healthy eating path is that it's actually not only all about balance, but it's all about math. Ooh, I hate math, always have. But it's going to be very important whenever I go to figure out all of my statistics to know how many of these I can fit into my healthy eating plan, how many of these I've made. And I need to remember whenever I figure out my statistics that these are made with a full 1/4 cup, and the others that are a little bit fancier, prettier, and smaller are made with almost half of that. So that's important. It's also important whenever you're making Rice Krispie treats to work more and talk less because they solidify. Okay, so now some of the recipes that I have seen calls for putting some little cinnamon candies on here, some whatever. And I think that you certainly could do that, but it adds to your calories a little bit more than I like. They're beautiful as they are, in truth, so that's not even necessary. If you had some of the cute little shaped Christmas things, marshmallows, or, you could add one of those. I think that it would also be perfectly fair and reasonable to add sprinkles to it. Now, these have got 15 calories in 1 teaspoon. And so that's something to keep in mind whenever you are portioning. Just like for anything that you do, now this is actually half a teaspoon, and I am measuring this. Measure, measure, measure. Otherwise, how do you know how many calories you're eating, how many carbohydrates you're eating? Okay, so this is only half of this, so about 7 calories. Okay, about 2 carbs. And I can take a little tiny pinch of this and just barely sprinkle the top of these and Christmas them and pretty them up a little bit and not really affect the calorie and carbohydrate at all. But now they're prettier, they're festive, you feel like you really got a little bit more because they've got sprinkles, and everything's better with sprinkles and bacon, my husband tells me. So I've added some little sprinkles for festive onto 4 of these, and you can't even really tell that I've used any of my half a teaspoon at all. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So there you go. Fake Rice Krispie treats, faux, and they're in wreath shapes for the holidays. And portion control, have them in moderation, make sure you count them. And I will include the actual recipe with nutrition facts on the website.